welcome to another episode of Around the Boxes. It's your boy DA Comics here. I'm never going to say that ever again. I'm not cool enough to pull that off. Welcome back to episode 19 of Around the Boxes. This is, of course, my live show where I show you guys my new comic book pickups, talk about comic collecting, news in the comic book industry, all sorts of stuff like that. I am going to be doing these a little bit, well, not differently, but I'm kind of changing what I'm going for with these a little bit. For a while, I was kind of including a lot of stuff in episodes, but generally I want to keep Around the Boxes focused on like comic book pickups and discussing them. Because going forward, like if there's a topic I want to talk about, I'll probably just make a separate video for that. So, comic book pickups today. We are finally caught up now. So, last couple episodes I've been catching up on. Excuse me. A stack of comics that I had to read, so I was waiting to read them to talk about them here. I'm now caught up. I've read everything. I did run out of bags and boards, so some of these are not boarded, some of these are. But we have a solid few comics to talk about. And yeah, that's about it on that. One thing I want to shout out in case you missed it. Well, let me make sure we're live. Yeah, we're doing good. Cool. One thing I want to shout out in case you missed it. I did upload a video a couple days ago. I'm just going to breeze right over here. Why the MCU had to be Earth 616. If you want to go and check that out, I really appreciate it. It's been getting a decent amount of views compared to my normal stuff. But I was pretty proud of that video. It's a short video. I made it in like an hour. Like I didn't work that hard on it. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like it turned out pretty good. So I mean, if you guys want to check that out, that would be appreciated. Also, haven't shouted this out in a while. My gaming channel, DA Games, right here. For some reason, this homepage is not updating, but I did upload a video there yesterday. Now, this is basically... I had some old Destiny videos on the channel back before I kind of came back with the whole revamp, and when I did the revamp, I privated everything. But I edited some of those old clips together into one video, Destiny 2. Me and JP Creations and our friend Just Gut playing some Destiny and being idiots. So if you want to go and check that out, if you like Destiny, if you like gaming content, you can go and check that out. I'm going to be trying to do more stuff over here. Obviously, I only got 2 videos right now, but we're working on it, trying to get more consistent things going. Specifically planning to do more Destiny stuff. That's why I wanted to put this up, because we're probably going to make some more Destiny videos like that, so I wanted to have that up there just to see that. But aside from that, I guess we can just dive right into this week's Around the Boxes, which I think this is 3 weeks in a row now that I have had Around the Boxes, so shout out me. I'm kidding. Anyway, diving into the comics, I told you guys I was going to try and be consistent for you, and I am trying to do that. I'm trying to get videos regularly and all sorts of stuff, so I will have more videos on the way, both Around the Boxes and other videos. It's still going to be a little bit longer before Webheads comes back, because obviously you can still hear I'm having the breathing issue, and that's not as big of an issue for shorter videos or streams like this, but, recording a hour-and-a-half long podcast, not the easiest thing with the breathing. Plus, it's kind of bad for the audio quality, which with a podcast, that matters a little bit more. So, we're just going to wait a little bit longer on that, but that will be coming back at some point. But, diving into the comic books, like I said, I was catching up on reading, so I have some comic books that came out a few weeks ago, and then, obviously, some that came out today. So, starting right here with Hulk number 5, the Unfriendly Neighborhood Spider Hulk. This obviously being a multiverse of Hulks, or sorry, not a multiverse, a universe full of Hulks. And this Peter Parker is like a huge Spider Hulk, which is pretty cool. I will say, as I've said, talking about this book, I forgot to move my lamp, so the lighting's not great here. But talking about this book, from issue 1 when I started picking it up, I've been a little underwhelmed by it. I just kind of was confused on what was going on. I didn't really understand. It started to kind of make a little bit more sense as I got towards the end of the first arc. At least I kind of understand. Bruce Banner has trapped the Hulk persona in his mind palace thing, and he's created like an engine room and all this other stuff. what I don't understand is how the body is Hulk. I don't know. But aside from that, it's pretty cool. Him fighting Spider-Hulk was interesting. I do think this whole like spaceship Hulk vibe, hopefully it doesn't last like the whole run or anything like that. It kind of seems, and I'll talk about this more later, but it kind of seems like that's going to be coming to an end soon, and he'll be back to some kind of, regular Hulk. But yeah, after Hulk 5, there was Hulk 6, which was the last part of this storyline, when Hulk basically goes into, God mode. And completely annihilates everything he was fighting. And then ultimately it ends with Bruce kind of locking Hulk back in the engine room, which, interestingly, Hulk was like, oh, I'm sorry, he seemed kind of sad. And then, of course, it ends with a teaser for Banner of War with Mjolnir swinging in at him, which I do think it's interesting that they did the whole... I forgot what it was called, but the last storyline on Thor with Mjolnir being alive and him fighting it and then it breaking, they did the whole reforging it to make it look like this, and it's very obvious why they did that, and that's because in Thor Love and Thunder, the movie coming out in a couple of months, that's what Mjolnir looks like in that. So it's obvious they kind of wanted that parallel between the comics and the movies, which I get, but it's kind of funny how it happened totally different ways. And obviously, Thor has Mjolnir in this, whereas Jane Foster has it in Thor Love and Thunder, but excited for that movie, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, first storyline of Hulk, how I would rate it, it was okay. Wasn't great. Didn't blow my mind, but I will continue to pick it up. I'm not going to drop it quite yet, because I do really like the character of the Hulk. I really like Donny Cates, and obviously I'm reading, the Thor crossover right now, and then once we get through that, I'll keep going and reevaluate, but overall, I'd say it was decent, but wasn't my favorite. But just gotta, just keep going with it. Next up, sorry, I'm trying to get sorted here. Next up, we have Captain America 0. This is obviously the lead-in for the 2 new Captain America series coming. This book was pretty good, actually. I really liked the art. It was almost like a photorealistic art, and it looks great. There's a lot of great panels. I'm trying to find, obviously, the full double-page spread there. There's another great one. I don't know. I really like, for some reason, with Captain America specifically, I really like photorealistic art. I just think it looks really good. Maybe because he's such a grounded character, but yeah, so definitely enjoyed the art in this book. And it was obviously just kind of setting up that they were both going to be Captain America, and leading into the nothing too major happened here. They're obviously saving that for the actual series that are coming. So immediately after that, I picked up Captain America: Symbol of Truth #1, which is the Falcon Cap series. I've not liked Falcon Cap that much. Namely, I didn't like him as a replacement for Steve Rogers, but now that they've found this perfect balance of he exists over here and Steve Rogers exists over there, I think that's a really good way to do it. And I'm here for it, so I wanted to give it a try. And also, I did really like Falcon and Winter Soldier at the end when he became Captain America. I thought that was really cool. So I am excited to see more of Falcon Cap in the MCU, so I figured I should pick up his book and check it out. So, overall, this book was pretty good. It didn't blow my mind. I'm not hooked, but I'll definitely pick it up for at least a storyline and see how I feel about it. I do like that he has a different shield and he's got the costume and everything. It's a cool look. It's cool. I like that they are doing this with the 2 separate series. One thing that does worry me, this book has a noticeable lack of a legacy numbering, which, as you guys know, and I will continue to say this, Marvel can reboot their series as much as they want, as long as they keep the legacy numbering there. And what's bad is Marvel has not earned my trust yet. So when I see books, when they added the legacy number, basically, ever since the day they added it, I have been afraid that they're going to take it away, basically. I'm like, they finally did something right. The legacy numbering is a great idea. They should keep doing it. but I am terrified they're going to take it away because they've done it before. They've done it before. Back in like 2000s, I think, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, there was a period of time where they had like issue 53, issue 500, whatever. Like they did the legacy numbering on those books, and then after a while they just went back to the Volume 1 numbering, which that I would be okay with, but eventually, obviously, then they rebooted and it was back to issue 1 and they had no legacy numbering. So ever since they added the legacy numbering, every single new series that comes out, I'm like keeping an eye out for like, does it have the legacy numbering? Like I noticed She-Hulk #1 didn't, and I got concerned, but then issue 2 did. And so this notably does not have legacy numbering. Now there could be an explanation for that. It could be because the other Captain America series will have the legacy numbering because that's the one with Steve Rogers, and this is kind of a new Captain America. But I don't know. That worries me. When I see an issue number without the legacy number, that worries me because I'm thinking, what if they get rid of the legacy numbering? And I love the legacy numbering because it allows us to have cool stuff like Thor, issue 750, also issue 24. This came out a while ago, but it took me a while to get around to reading it because this is a thick book. And so I was kind of putting it off for a while. But I really loved this book. It was awesome. They brought back a ton of creators from Thor's history. Jason Aaron, Al Ewing, J. Michael Straczynski, which surprised me. I didn't know that he had written Thor at some point, but he's one of my favorite writers of all time. So I was very excited for that. And this is issue 24, Legacy 750, and a lot of milestones for this. I mean, it's issue 750. It's celebrating the 60th anniversary of Thor, and it's the funeral for Odin. So they basically had a bunch of tales from Asgard written by all these different creators. And one thing that I've kind of noticed, and I'll talk more about this with a later comic book in this episode, I love the little tales from Asgard, like one-off stories, and I think that they should do more with that, but I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But all in all, this book was pretty good. I enjoyed most of the stories. Some of them, not so much. There was one really short Loki story that I think was referencing his series, which I have not read, so I didn't really understand what was going on there, so I was a little confused, but for the most part, I understood what was going on, and it was definitely fun to read, so shout out Thor, shout out Donny Cates, loving it. Keep it up. Keep that series running for years and years. Don't end it anytime soon. But finally, issue that came out this week, we have Venom Lethal Protector. This is obviously the Venom miniseries that takes place in back in the 90s, back in the original Venom days. And once again, this does not have legacy numbering. Now, I understand this is a miniseries and the main Venom series has legacy numbering, but I feel like this could have been included in the legacy numbering because you look at like the old Venom miniseries, right? For a while, Venom was only miniseries. It was like a bunch of 5-issue miniseries, and when you look at the legacy numbering, that's what it ended up being. Like if I pull it up here, the Venom legacy numbering is a lot of different series, and that's because it's like Venom Lethal Protector 1 through 6, Venom Funeral Pyre 1 through 3, Venom the Madness 1 through 3, Venom the Enemy Within 1 through 3. So it feels like something like this, especially with a title like Venom Lethal Protector, should be a part of the legacy numbering. So I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe it would have just been too hard to do that. I don't know, but that's just one thing. That doesn't mean they're getting rid of the legacy numbering because obviously it is still on the main Venom series. But that's just one thing that, I don't know. I really like legacy numbering. But this book was a lot better than the first issue. Honestly, I enjoyed it a lot more. I really love the cover. I mean, that classic Venom with the big eyes and the, you know, lack of drool. I mean, the drool and all of that is iconic to Venom, but that wasn't always there. When Venom first appeared, he looked like this, and so it's nice to see that kind of more Todd McFarlane era Venom than I think it was Eric Larson who added all the slobber and stuff. So yeah, it's good. I'm gonna keep picking it up. Probably pick up all 5 issues. But yeah. Then last thing we're going to talk about is Hulk versus Thor, Banner of War. We have Banner of War Part 1 here, and then we have Thor number 25, which is Banner of War Part 2. My thoughts on this series overall so far, obviously this is celebrating the 60th anniversary of Hulk and Thor. It's kind of marketed as like the ultimate battle between Hulk and Thor, and I gotta shout out the art in the part 1. If you read this or even just paid attention to comic book Twitter or anything, then you probably saw this panel already, but I mean, this is just legendary. It's Hulk and Thor, round 1, fight! That's a great time. Obviously, they're in an arena, so it kind of harkens back to Thor Ragnarok a little bit. But this is good, but also, I don't know. It lines up with Thor's character, but he kind of just attacked Hulk out of nowhere. And then while Bruce is trying to explain, he just kind of keeps fighting him. And it's like, I get it. That's Thor. He kind of shoots first, asks questions later. But I don't know. It was a little frustrating to read, but I guess it's supposed to be. You guys know, generally, when it comes to crossovers, I do not like jumping series. So I don't like that an entire Thor issue is Banner of War Part 2, and then the next one will be in Hulk, and then the next one will be in Thor, and then the next one will be in Hulk. Like, I don't like that. It obviously works out fine in this case because I'm picking up both of those series, so it works. But generally, I feel like if you're going to do a crossover event like that, it should just be its own comic book. You could just put the Banner of War issue 1, Banner of War issue 2, etc. Because as a collector, it's really annoying because it's like, I have my Hulk section and I have my Thor section. So if I wanted to have Banner of War together, which I would, those are in 2 separate sections. And then where the heck do I put this? Banner of War Alpha Part 1, like where do I put this? Do I put this in the Thor section? Do I put it in the Hulk section? Do I put it in my miscellaneous section? So making the crossovers around series like that, I guess it's probably good for readers, and it encourages sales of series. If you're picking up Thor but you weren't picking up Hulk, then now you might to try it out and whatever. But as a collector, it's really annoying. It also does bother me from a reading standpoint a lot of the time because then you're jumping creative teams. In this case, it's fine because both series are written by Donny Cates, so the whole thing will be orchestrated by him. But that has been an issue in the past where a book kind of jumps around series and it's like all these different creators are writing it. But I was laughing earlier. It's Banner of War Part Z. They wanted to do a very geometric font. And it says Banner of War Part Z. But all in all, seeing Thor and Hulk fight was cool. I did like the kind of twist that happened. You can see it on the cover here where Odin, who has been inside of Mjolnir, actually got sent into Banner's mind palace and was like fighting Banner inside Hulk's head. That was kind of interesting. Another thing that I liked that they did with this book, because this is another thick book because it's issue 25. So we had issue 750, and then we have issue 25, aka 751. It included a couple backstories. 2 smaller stories in the back. The first one written by Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz. Art by... plot and pencils, okay. And this was about the Enchantress. And that was just interesting to see. I really like the old Asgard stories because they remind me of the old Thor comics. They're very colorful. Asgard is very very colorful is the best way I can put it, and I really like that aesthetic. I think that's really fun. I mean, it's obviously a little bit corny, but I think it's cool for Asgard and for Thor. And then the second story, which is obviously the inspiration for my title and thumbnail, I loved this. It's Thor's Wedding. Now, I am Norwegian. I love Norse mythology. And this story is actually based on an actual Norse myth that I had heard before. Basically, where a frost giant steals Mjolnir, and in order to get it back, he wants to marry... in this, it's Angela. I think in the Norse myth, I don't think Angela's a thing. But basically, he wants to marry someone. And so... in order to get his hammer back, Thor dresses up in a wedding dress, dresses up like a woman, goes to the frost giants, and basically is like, I'm here to marry you. And then once they give Mjolnir back, he unveils himself as Thor and he kills the frost giants. That's a pretty famous Norse myth. And so they depicted that here with Thor and Loki. And I thought it was a lot of fun. Thor getting getting all dolled up in his wedding dress. Loki also getting dolled up, which I thought was really fun. And yeah, it was just very humorous, very goofy, very silly. Obviously, this panel that's in the thumbnail is just ridiculous. But I enjoyed it. And honestly, my biggest takeaway from all of these Tales from Asgard, as they've been calling it, you know, Thor's Wedding, or the one with the Enchantress, or any of the ones in issue 750, what I really want them to do, so if anyone from Marvel ever sees this, do this. They should bring back Journey into Mystery as a series, and it should be an anthology series. So they could do like Journey into Mystery, Tales from Asgard, or whatever, whatever legacy numbering that would be. I don't know, you know, whatever, because it's kind of considered Thor now. But you know, maybe they just call it Tales from Asgard. But if they made a series called like Tales from Asgard, and each issue had a different writer, a different artist, and it was just like a one-off story from any point in Asgard or Thor's history, I think that would be a lot of fun. I would be here for that. You know, it could be a tale of Thor from the early days. It could be a tale of Odin from the, you know, ancient, you know, when he was with the Ancient Avengers or whatever they were called. They could do a lot of cool stuff with that. So that's something that I really want them to do, is like Tales from Asgard as a series. I don't know how long it would go for, you know. It depends on how many people are interested in something like that. I know I am, but maybe not everyone is. But I think that would be a lot of fun, personally. So hopefully that's something that they will do. It seems like they've, you know, been doing a lot of these. They did it in this, which I expected it in this, because that's kind of what this book was meant to be. But then they threw them in the back of issue 25, and I was like, wow, maybe they'll do that more. Obviously, they could do it in future Thor issues, which I'm okay with that as well. But I think it would be more fun if it was kind of its own series. Plus, you know, Marvel being Marvel and being a business and ultimately trying to make money, you know, that's double the sales rather than putting it in one book. But excited to keep reading Thor, though. Thor, as you guys know, is one of my favorite series that I've been picking up. One of my favorite superheroes, so I'm excited to read more. Banner of War is looking pretty cool, although I will say it's Hulk versus Thor, and now they've just thrown Iron Man into the mix, so it's kind of already gone off the rails from what they said it would be. But whatever. I mean, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what happens, but I'm not loving it. It's good. It's good, but. Next week, we have some awesome comic books coming out. We have a new Saga issue. We have a new Amazing Spider-Man issue, which obviously you know we're going to be talking mostly about that. So find out what the heck's going on with Mary Jane. Figure out why Peter is being a dick to everybody. Exciting stuff next week, so stay tuned. Next episode Around the Boxes, we'll be talking about that. And I will probably have some more videos coming to the channel as well. Like the one I made the other day, because I just want to make some videos, kind of shorter videos, just talking about a certain subject or giving my thoughts on something. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, leave a comment down below, because that will definitely help to kind of guide my focus on what videos to make. If there's something that you guys want my thoughts on, or you want me to go more in depth on, maybe it's something I've discussed in the past on the Around the Boxes, I could go in more depth on it. Anything like that, let me know in the comments, and I read every single comment, so that can kind of help me to decide what to make. And of course, if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. I talk about comic books and all things comic related, mostly Marvel and mostly Spider-Man, but obviously, I mean, today we talked mostly about Thor, so there's a little bit of variety in there. But hit that like button if you enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. I'm not going to shout out more of my stuff, but if you want my socials, you know, obviously check the description, go to my channel, you can find everything else there. So I will see you guys.